Welcome to Coldbeer Sports. I am now joined by Nigel Seeley. Nigel is coming on to talk us through the Euros. And if betting on horse racing and golf wasn't enough for you degenerates, I decided to bring in one of the shrewdest men in the game, been punting for a very, very long time. And yeah, football has been his thing for most of his life. I think golf as well. But this guy, definitely a shrewdie when it comes to the footy. So welcome, Nigel.
Well, first of all, Paddy, what an introduction. I need to send you the PayPal details for that introduction, for the money that we agreed I was going to send you for it. But, I don't know how many people you know as shrewd as me, but there's a lot more shrewder people than me, I can assure you. But, yeah, football has been my thing. Football's been my thing for years, and obviously the European Football Championship coming around now. It's going to be a huge summer for the English. Not so much for the Irish, though, Paddy, I must admit. It's quite funny, really, because the Irish teams have always been. My mother's Irish, and I'm from Galway, and I've always followed the Irish team. This current crop of Irish players, I know that you got a call up for the most recent team match against Andorra, but you were doing this. You couldn't make the squad, so. That's how bad the Irish team's got at the moment. But luckily enough for England, they're not calling up on me because I would bring the average age up. But they've got probably one of their best chances of winning a major championship for a long time. But I know that's not what the Irish bettors want to hear. But I'm not going to go on and say that England will win it, but they have got a good chance. But I know that's not what you want to hear. But yes, a big tournament coming up. Going to be great football. Unfortunately, a lot of empty stadiums because of COVID around the place. But I think what we're going to watch in our homes televisions across Europe is going to be some really, really entertaining football this summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, no doubt the Irish fans will still have a keen interest. They'll be at every bar that's just opened up. Yes, it is outdoor dining, but they will get maybe with the phones now and all the technology, it'll be no problem to keep in touch with the matches. But I will just touch on, yes, the English look good this year, but you're very optimistic all the time. The proof will be in the pudding, and let's hope you can get a big result this time. I think you're 1-3 favourite to win the group, with Croatia second favourite. What is your fancies for, say, most of the group stages or group bettings? Is there a dark team in there that maybe some of the degenerates that hang out at this channel can get a nice few quid on? We want to know what the value is, Seeley.
Well, let's start off with England's chances. They're the joint favourites to win the tournament. Going forward from an attacking threat, I think England are one of the best teams going forward in the tournament. I mean, the midfield quality they have and creativity they have in Mason Mount, Foden, Grealish, Rashford, Harry Kane, Sancho. I mean, they're quality. The problem for England is defensively, they're not that great, and they've got a huge problem with the goalkeeper. I don't rate Jordan Pickford. I don't think he's international class. And I think that's going to be England's problem. And England will probably get through the group without a minimum of fuss. But when they get to the knockout stages, I think they're going to find it very hard. There's two important factors for England. If they win the group, they play all their games virtually at Wembley. They were supposed to play in Dublin in the last 16, but obviously because of COVID, we couldn't have that game. But that last 16 game, if England win the group, is potentially against the runners-up of the group involving Germany, France or Portugal in the last 16. You don't want to be playing those in the last 16. That's a tough ask for England. So I think England at 5-1 is a joke of a price. And it really is because the English bookmakers over here have huge liabilities on England, so they can put them up at any single price you want, and people over here will bet them. Football's been coming home for 51 years. I'm 48 years. It hasn't come home yet, but it's not. I don't think it's going to be coming home this year.
They've been singing it for a long time now.
Think of a new song is driving me mad. But anyway, I don't think it's going to come home. And I think England, obviously, they have got the potential, but I don't think they can win it. And I think like the prices, they're no value. At the prices, I bet one team, two teams. One team I bet was Denmark, and I bet them 3 months ago at 80-1. They're 28-1 now, 33-1 now. They are going to be a very, very hard team to beat. They've got an outstanding goalkeeper in 𝗘𝗶𝗄𝗏𝗏. They've got probably one of the best players in the tournament in Christian Eriksen, who whenever he puts in on a Denmark shirt, he just turns it on. They've got a very, very strong defence. And I think they're a side that will really, really shock a lot of people. They're in a difficult group. Well, they should get through the group, but they've got Belgium in their group. And the biggest bet I've had of the whole tournament is on Belgium and Denmark to qualify from that group, or to
Group
be
B,
first
yeah.
and second in that group.
Well, that's Group B. So what I'll do is any of the selections, lads, as always, I'll put Nigel's selections in the descriptions below. So make sure, come back and always check the description. I'll have any bet Nigel fancies in that. So there, that's definitely interesting. And is there anything else that you want to add as far as value from an outright standpoint?
Well, I mean, Denmark would have team that I bet at 80-1. At 28-1, I probably wouldn't have bet them. The value got. But I do think the value lies at the top of the betting. I mean, if you think of England at 5-1, well, France are the same price, 5-1. Yeah. France are the world champions. They're to the final of the European Championship. Their starting 11 is absolutely phenomenal in every position. I mean, their front three: Griezmann, Benzema, Mbappie, just world-class players. In midfield, Pogba plays for France, a different player as he does for Manchester United. And in Kante, I think they've got probably one of the most key midfield players who covers every blade of glass, was the man of the match in the Champions League final for Chelsea against Manchester City. And I think France at 5-1 will win the European Championship. Obviously,
it's a great price for such a rock solid team. And
well, the reason why is that price, Paddy, is because they're in that group with Germany and Portugal.
Of course, with their scale.
And they play Germany in Munich, which is a very tough place to go. But whoever tops that group has such an easy section. Yeah. And I think that if France top the group, that they can go through. And you've got to remember, they're World Cup winners. They know what to do in knockout stages, and their squad is so strong. The cover for every position is phenomenal. I think this is going to be a tournament that's going to be a lot, because we can have a lot of suspensions, a lot of injuries, and unfortunately, I think there could be a few COVID cases to squads. So the squad depth is going to be the most important they've ever been. And I think the French squad is just so quality in every position that they have replacements for everybody else. It's not original. It's not, it's not for the degenerates. I'm not going to tip out North Macedonia at 500-1 just so you can. But I think the cream will rise to the top. And I think France are definitely the side to beat.
Yeah, well, look, at 5-1, you've made a fair case for them. And took note, it is interesting about the COVID. We had John Ram at the weekend at the Memorial Tournament, shot 8 under par, and next thing he's told he has to leave and withdraw when he was, I think, 6 shots clear of the lead, chasing back-to-back wins. So really, it is something that has to take into hand and could happen a lot over here. One other thing I wanted to ask you was, who's getting sent off? Give us a bet for a red card here at the tournament. Is there any hothead? I know Pogba can be a little bit hot every now and again. Give us one there. Who's going home early?
Well, there's a couple of teams, nations that I think you want to be looking at bookings and sending off. The first one is Turkey. Yeah, have you been into a kebab shop at 12:30 in the night? The Turks don't mess about, mate. You start rearing up, you're in trouble. I think Turkey will. Be quite fiery, especially in the game that they need to win. They start off against Italy. I think that game. Usually in World Cup tournaments and European Championship, the referees always card happy in the first game. They get given some sort of crazy new law that they have to abide to, and then they bring the cards out. I think the first game, Turkey against Italy, wouldn't be a surprise to see us sending off in that game. And the other team that I think might lose their heads a little bit is North Macedonia. They're involved in the first, obviously the first time they've ever been involved in the European Championship, and I think that they could be a side that, if you look for sort of matches involving them, I think they're such a proud nation playing on the biggest stage for the first time, and I think the occasion might get to a few of those players as well, especially in the games that they need to get something from.
They'll be playing all right to close down. And look, it's a fun bet. I know nobody wants anyone to be sent off, but at the end of the day, if you can talk about it, you can bet on it. And it's just, it's something that's definitely interesting. So what I was going to say, I hope once the bookies are watching in and see that we are now working together, there might be a bounty on your head walking around London. So be careful after the day.
I've just had a text from William Hill saying you're welcome in any time. You're dealing with American.
I tell you, we had a quite enough week, but we bounced back with a nice treble yesterday. So really, really interesting stuff.
And I must admit, I've been following your horse racing tips absolutely flying and doing well. If we were going on holiday this year without to go, I'd be away. But unfortunately, I can only go to Bognor Regis. So, but thanks very much for contributing to that great horse racing information.
Yeah, well, we're trying our best to find the value in the bets, and we don't like winners. We like winners of value, and that's what we're trying to find. We're interested in backing horses above the odds. Obviously, bookies won't like us for that, but hey, that's what we're in. Look, as far as the Euros goes, it would have been nice to be heading off. I went there before when it was hosted in Poland a good few years ago. I never seen any games or anything, just went to the bars, had great fun, and yeah, it was one of those holidays I'll never forget. A good bunch of lads went, and really enjoyable. So it is a bit of a pity with COVID, but I'm still sure a lot of the fans will get to travel a bit. And are they letting in many nights? Do you know what's the capacity, or what way is it working for fans that want to go and see the Euros this summer?
Wembley is I think it's 20,000 for the first game, but according to us over here, on the 21st of June, we're allowed to go back out, allowed to be able to go back to normal. I don't think that's going to happen. If that happens, then obviously they're allowed a full capacity. But I think it's 20,000. But some other nations around the world, I think the Hungarian at the 𝗬𝗶𝗴𝗲𝗀𝗃 Stadium, they're at full capacity with 67,000 people. So I think it's different. I mean, the other thing I'll give you, I'm going to Wembley for the game against, if England win the group, they play the runners-up of the France, Germany, Portugal game. And I'm going to that game. But I don't think, if England don't win the group, I paid serious amounts of euros to watch Scotland v Hungary. And I don't
yeah. Wow, well, look, there is a good chance England might win the group, so you could be going to watch Hungary.
It could be. There's a couple of other bets I like, Paddy, in the on the tournament. If you look at some of the special markets, the top goal scorer.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. So come on, give us your top goal scorer. This is one a lot of people will have interested in hearing.
Well, I think that Lukaku from Belgium.
Yeah, 6-1.
I think he's the one. Belgium are phenomenal flat track bullies. What they do is when they play teams that they're supposed to beat, they beat them well. I mean, in qualification, they won 10 out of 10 games and scored 40 goals.
Yeah,
they're averaging goals a game. Lukaku is a beast of a man. He's strong.
He is, yeah.
He's going to get the supply from Kevin De Bruyne and Eden Hazard. I don't think Belgium will win it because I think when they get to the knockout stages, they freeze. They suddenly, if they're running to an Italy or a France, I think they'll be a little bit too tactically astute for the manager, Roberto Martinez. But in that group, barring Denmark, they've got nothing else really to go up against. And I think they'll score a hatful of goals. And the other thing is, Lukaku is on penalties. And I think to be the top goal scorer in the European Championship, you need to have a couple of things. Firstly, you need to be on a team that has a realistic chance of winning it. And Belgium do have that chance.
Yeah,
and then it really helps if you're on the penalties. And Lukaku will be on the penalties. He was second top goal scorer in the last World Cup. And this time around, he's going in with confidence sky high after winning the title with Inter Milan in Italy. So I think Lukaku's definitely a worthy favourite for that. And from an outside point of view, I think Spain will do a lot better than people are anticipating. The manager, 𝗬𝗂𝘁𝗿𝗄, hasn't picked one player from Real Madrid, which has been a huge shock for Spanish media out there. And he left out the captain as well, Sergio Ramos. But they've got, I think, the centre forward from Manchester City, Ferran Torres, who hasn't really played much football for Man City, but he played a lot towards the end of the season. And he scored a hat-trick against Newcastle. Luis Enrique really likes him. He played him in the Nations League against Germany, and he scored a hat-trick against Germany. He scored a hat-trick against Newcastle. And I think he'll start up front for Spain. And you can get 40-1. Now, to get 40-1 about a striker who's Spain's main striker for a team like Spain is a great each-way bet. And some bookies are offering a quarter the odds of the first four. So I think to get 10 Torres first four, I think he's also a shout to be the young player of the tournament. They're 14-1 Torres. But yeah, if you're looking for some angles on the goal scorers at short odds, I know it's not a big price, but I think Harry Kane at even money to be the top England goal scorer, that's a gift from God, I think. I think that's a gift.
Even Stevens. Yeah, well, he's the most likely every time for them, isn't he?
But he scored 34 goals for England. Only two other players in the squad have scored double figures for England. He takes penalties, and England will get a huge amount of penalties. You saw Jack Grealish, and you saw when Foden will play. They'll go into the box and they'll cause all kinds of problems against weaker opposition. And I think they'll concede a lot of penalties. And Harry Kane is pretty lethal from the spot. So I think Harry Kane, I don't think England will win it. I think they'll do okay. But I think Harry Kane at evens is a great bet if you can bet that to be the top English goal scorer. Because I think if you look at all the other players in that team, Rashford, Sterling, Foden, Grealish, none of them are guaranteed a starting spot. Kane will start every game. The whole team is built around him. And I think it evens. You know, if you could do a little couple of doubles, I mean, if you look at 𝗬𝗲𝗃𝗂𝗏 for Poland, he's big odds on
some player,
do that with a double with Harry Kane. I think you won't go far wrong there.
For the two, yeah. No, that's very interesting. Like I said, we're just degenerates. We love the horse racing. We love the golf. I'm okay on the boxing as well. But when it comes to football, if you don't know about it, bring in the guys that do. And that's the way I was planning. And look, I just want to give the community some value. So just to wrap it up for today with Nigel, you're looking at some of his best bets. We'll have them in the description. Maybe Robbie Keane. Or Robbie Keane, Jeremy Robbie Keane. Robbie Keane is Robbie Keane is Robbie. Yeah, he's gone. But so Lukaku, I think outright for top goal scorer. I think he was around 6-1 or 13-2. Maybe the Turkish to get one sent off. Who knows if anybody can find it? I think the value pick at what was it? I think they were 28-1. Was it? Who'd you back at 28-1 for the value pick?
Basically, on the outright, my main selection is France at 5-1.
Right.
I've already bet Denmark at 80s, but at 28s they're probably no value, but they will surprise a lot of people. And I think Spain will do well at 9s. On the groups, my best bet on the groups is Belgium and Denmark to finish first and second in a dual forecast in any order, which is even money with Coral and Ladbrokes. I think that is the best bet of the
groups. Belgium and Denmark.
Yep, the player of the tournament, I'm going for Kante at 20-1 to win the player of the tournament. He was the man of the match in the Champions League. He's been brilliant under Thomas Tuchel at Chelsea. I think Kante and the French will do really well. And on the top goal scorer, I'm going for Lukaku at 7-1, and I'm going for Ferran Torres at 45-1 with Unibet, if you can get that.
And that's each way, and they're paying 4, I think, aren't they? Most.
And for country goal scorers, I think Harry Kane at evens to be the top England goal scorer is a great bet on that as well.
Harry Kane for top for England. Okay, very good. Well, Nigel, I really appreciate you coming on here, helping out all the degenerates here at Coldbeer Sports. And let's hope them bookies don't hunt you down in London for giving some information if we take a little bit off the top line.
It's Paddy Power now. They said your account's back open because you're American. How much do you want? Unlimited.
Well, hey, we might need to call you because we're getting a little bit of trouble this side. Listen, thanks a million, Nigel. As always, really, really good to have your expertise here on the channel, and I'm sure the community will really enjoy your selections. And let's hope we can get 1 or 2 home and cash in on a little bit of the big corporations' money. Nigel, thanks a million. I appreciate it a lot.
Take care, pal. All the best. Good luck with everything. Take care.
Cheers, amigo.